Today at STEAM Club, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, dinosaurs. I love reading about dinosaurs. I love learning about dinosaurs. Whenever I do a dinosaur program at my library, people teach me about dinosaurs, so I know you all know a lot about dinosaurs too. Hopefully I can teach you a little bit about dinosaurs, and I'm going to give you some fun STEAM activities that you can do at home that cost very little money, and they're a nice way to spend the afternoon. So let's talk a little bit about what we know about dinosaurs and how we know so much about dinosaurs before we get into our activities. So dinosaurs lived over 100 million years ago, and we know this because we find fossils all over the globe of dinosaurs that lived in the past. So dinosaurs were on the ground, earth and dust kind of were sifted over them, and then all of a sudden people were starting to dig up dinosaur bones, but they didn't know what they were. So we find all these bones, they put them together, and they come up with a fossil or a skeleton of an animal that lived many, many years ago. They are not around anymore. I think you know the word for that. When dinosaurs are not around anymore, it's because they're extinct. It's extinction, and that means that something happened on the Earth's atmosphere where dinosaurs could not breathe and they could not live anymore. Now, scientists do not know exactly what happened to dinosaurs. Some of them think that an asteroid came down and created an atmospheric change where they couldn't breathe anymore. Some people think that a volcano erupted and that caused a lot of changes in the weather, but for whatever reason, dinosaurs became extinct about 66 million years ago, a long time ago. So without these fossils and without scientists learning about them, we would not even know what dinosaurs are. So I think it's fascinating that we're still learning about dinosaurs, we're still finding dinosaur bones, they're still coming up with new species that they never knew about. So I just think it's amazing that we're living in a time where we're finding all these things. I bet you know the answer to this. Do you know the name of a scientist that studies just dinosaurs or things that lived a long time ago? I'm going to give you a minute. Oh, I think I heard it. It's a paleontologist. So paleontologists are scientists that study fossils and other artifacts from a long time ago, and they try to piece together what happened way before we were on the planet Earth. So if you're interested in dinosaurs, if you have an inquisitive mind, if you like to think things out and solve problems, you could become a paleontologist. You just take lots of science classes, and you could be out there at dig sites digging up fossil bones and maybe discovering a new species that we don't even know about. Wouldn't that be cool? So we're going to learn about fossils. I'm going to teach you how to make a sando fossil later on. And then from those fossils, paleontologists discovered all these different species of dinosaurs. There were short dinosaurs, super tall dinosaurs, dinosaurs that stood just on their back legs, dinosaurs that used all four legs. We had meat eaters, plant eaters, dinosaurs with clubbed tails, with spikes, with armor, sharp teeth, sharp claws. So all of these things were discovered by paleontologists using some dig site tools. They'll go out to a dig site. Usually it's in the desert where it's hot, so they'll put their hat on to protect them from the sun. They'll take some brushes. If you've got super old bones in the ground, you don't want to dig really hard and deep. You might break them. So they sift away the sand with some brushes. They might use some shovels to get the dirt away. Might use a flashlight or a magnifying glass. So all of these are dig site tools that paleontologists use to dig up those bones. And they take them back to museums, put them together, and then we can learn about all the species of dinosaurs. So today we're going to learn about how to make a fossil at home with some inexpensive ingredients. We're going to learn how to make a dinosaur painting with some paint and a plastic dinosaur, and we're going to play with a sensory bin too, and we're going to become junior paleontologists. All right, so sit back and let's learn about some dinosaurs. So today for STEAM Club, I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do at home with items you already have at your house, mostly, or some inexpensive items. This is a great way to spend the afternoon with little money, and if your kids are bananas about dinosaurs like most kiddos are, this is going to be great for them. So Together a sensory bin. Sensory bins are great just for the fact that they're sensory. Kids love to touch and feel and explore with their hands. So sensory bins are always a good idea no matter what you're learning about. You can always make a sensory bin for anything, ice cream cones, whatever, birthday candles, whatever. So for this sensory bin, I just got an inexpensive container and I put some pinto beans, some dry pinto beans in there. I got them from the store. They're like 99 cents a bag. You can also use dried rice. You can color the rice and make it fancy. Sometimes at the library we will buy some water beads. Some kiddos call these Orbeez. I think that's the name brand. I get our water beads at Hobby Lobby. They're $2.99 for a bag. They're really inexpensive. They're in the floral department. What they are, they're little tiny beads, and you dump them into the container and you pour water in there and you leave them overnight and they soak up all the water, and then the next day they're nice and fluffy, and kids and grown-ups just love to touch and feel. It feels like a manicure. So you could spend all day long playing with water beads. So I highly recommend those. They come in all different colors. But today I did pinto beans, and what I did is I just filled the bottom layer with pinto beans, and then I just found some inexpensive dinosaur toys at the Dollar Tree. I found some dinosaur, different kind of species of dinosaurs. I found some dinosaur fossils. I found some dinosaur bones, and I just hid them in the beans. And then the kids can play. They can rake their hands in the beans. That feels good. They can pull out the beans with some scoopers or a scooper, or they can just pluck out the different shapes with some tweezers. And they can take their time looking for all the dinosaurs. So let's take a look how it looks from up top. So here's our dinosaur sensory bin. If you want to hide everything completely, put some more beans in, but if you got little bitties, it's nice that they can find a little something right off the bat. If you are working with little bitties, my experience is sometimes they like to put things in their mouth, so just be kind of cautious that they're not accidentally eating these dried pinto beans. But they'll be so fascinated by the dinosaurs, I don't think that'll be an issue. So the kids can just kind of play with their fingers and find some dinosaurs this way. Oh, look, I found a dinosaur bone. Or look, I found a Stegosaurus. They can play with their fingers. If you've got some fun tweezers, they can move around that way and pull out the dinosaurs that way. We've got some scoopers at the library. These are a lot of fun to play with. Just kind of scoop them out and find all those different shapes in here. Found a pterodactyl. I found a giant brachiosaurus. So once you've done all that and everybody's found everything they want to in the sensory bin, you could also have your kiddos sort out the shapes by color or size. So all the yellow dinosaurs together, all the tall dinosaurs together. If you're really advanced, all the meat eaters together, all the plant eaters together. It's a lot of fun to sort these things, but what you're really doing is you're using your brain and you're using your sorting skills, and they're definitely going to need that when they go into school. It's a pre-literacy activity. You could count all the items that you find, put them back in, and then count again. So you're having fun, but you're also learning at the same time. So these sensory bins are easy, super inexpensive, and they will definitely take up a lot of time in the afternoon and give your kiddos something fun to do for a dinosaur STEAM activity. All right, so since we were talking about paleontologists, which are scientists that study fossils to learn more about dinosaurs, I thought we could read a fun picture book. The name of this book is called Digger Dog, and there's a dog on the front, so I don't see anything about dinosaurs, but just you wait, something fun is going to happen. So Digger Dog is the title. The author is William B. Make sure to write this down on your summer reading form. This counts as something you read over the summer. So let's find out what's going on with the Digger Dog. I think he's going to use some construction equipment to dig for a doggy bone. That sounds kind of silly. Let's take a peek. Digger Dog. This is Digger Dog. Digger Dog loves to dig, especially for bones. First, he finds those bones using his nose. He goes, Digger Dog's got the scent of something. He's got the scent of something big. Then Digger Dog starts to dig. Can you say it with me? He goes dig, 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 dig. But the ground is too hard and the bone is too deep. Just a shovel's not going to work, you guys. Oops, missed a page. So Digger Dog goes and gets a little digger. so he can dig deeper and quicker. He's going to use an excavator. It goes dig, 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 dig. But the ground is still too hard and the bone is still too deep. So Digger Dog goes and gets a bigger digger so he can dig deeper and quicker. This digger goes dig, 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 dig. But the ground is still too hard and the bone is still too deep. So Digger Dog goes and gets a much bigger digger so he can dig deeper and quicker. Look how much dirt this digger's digging up. It goes dig, 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 dig. But the ground is still too hard and the bone is still too deep. Will Digger Dog ever reach that big, big bone? He has to stop and take a break. He's so tired. Then Digger Dog goes and gets the biggest digger he can find. The biggest digger in the whole wide world. Look at this digger, you guys. And the biggest digger in the whole wide world spits and snorts and rumbles and shakes and digs. It goes dig, 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 dig. And sure enough, after a lot of digging and a lot of rumbling and a lot of shaking, the world's biggest digger digs up the world's biggest bone. Is this the world's biggest bone? Or what about this? Could that be the world's biggest bone? Look what Digger Dog found. He found some dinosaur bones from a dinosaur that lived a long time ago. He just found his pinky finger. If he keeps digging, he's going to find his tail, his head, and his arms, and his claws. Way to go, Digger Dog. He found some dinosaur bones. Wasn't that cool? So another component of STEAM is art, and sometimes people leave art out, but I'm a big fan of art activities, so I thought today we could do some painting with some dinosaurs. So again, you probably have everything that you need at your house. I've got some white cardstock. It's kind of heavier paper, but you can totally do this on regular printer paper. That's fine. A disposable paper plate so that you can throw it away at the end. I use tempera paint. Tempera is washable, so if you have any washable paint, it's a little bit better at home than just regular paint, but regular paint will work too. And then I have a dinosaur, a plastic dinosaur, and we're going to use this as our paintbrush. It's kind of interesting. And also, if you got some messy kiddos, maybe like a old t-shirt that they can put on, and some newspaper on the bottom. So newspaper, disposable paper plate, washable paint, and a plastic dinosaur, and then something to paint with, and we're going to use the dinosaur prints to paint. So let's see how it works. So here's our disposable plate. We're going to put some washable paint in. I chose blue to match my shirt. You can always add more. I just added a little bit. And we're actually going to use the paws of our plastic dinosaur to be our paintbrush, do something different. So yesterday I already did an example with some smaller dinosaur feet in green. This was like a little bitty plastic dinosaur. And today we're going to use some bigger feet and see the comparison. So I'm just going to take this dinosaur's feet, put it in the paint, maybe wipe off just a little bit, and then just put it anywhere on my paper. And if you want to be really creative, you could paint with his tail or with his mouth. I'm just using his feet right now. And then just like any art project, when you're doing this at home, you're going to need some time for it to dry. So when you're satisfied with your art, just put it up on the counter where baby brother or sister can't see it. Let it dry. And then when it's dry, you can compare the different dinosaurs and the different prints they made. Okay, so another STEAM activity you can do at home for very little money, you probably already have the ingredients at home, is to make some salt dough. And people play with salt dough all the time like Play-Doh, but we're going to turn this salt dough into fossils. So we've learned that paleontologists go out and they dig up some bones and they find like maybe a leg bone here or an arm bone here, and they take all those back to the museum and they piece them together. So we're going to pretend that we are going to be junior paleontologists and we're going to be finding some dinosaur bones, but we need to find those fossils. The fossil is the imprint of what was living a long time ago in the rock and in the sand. So we're going to make some salt dough fossils. This is kind of an example of one I made earlier. So we took some salt dough, we rolled it up, I'll show you how to do that in a minute, and then I just pressed like a little bitty dinosaur in there just to make an imprint. If you'd rather just press like a bone, like a leg bone or an arm bone in there, that's fine. I did the whole dinosaur, but this is your activity. You can make it however you want to. So the things that you're going to need at home to make your salt dough fossils, you're going to need a big mixing bowl, you're going to need some flour, you're going to need some salt, some water, a spoon to mix everything together with, and then you're going to need a measuring device. I'm using a measuring cup. So the way to make some salt dough fossils is you're going to follow the rule of 2, 1, 1. You're going to take 2 cups of flour, put it in the bowl first, mix your dry ingredients first, and then 1 cup of salt, and you add that in, and then you're going to take 1 cup of water and slowly add that into your dough, and then we'll mix it all together. All right, so I've got my measuring cup. This is 1 cup, and remember I told you we needed 2 cups of flour. So I'm going to get 2 big scoops of flour, put it in my bowl first, because we want to mix dry ingredients first. Before you do this, please ask your grown-up for permission. Maybe they can help you with the measuring if you're not quite good at measuring yet. So I've got 2 cups of flour, and then I'm going to fill up this whole cup with 1 cup of salt. And again, these are pretty inexpensive items. You probably already have these at your house. 1 cup of salt. I'm going to kind of mix the dry ingredients together a little bit. And then we're going to need 1 cup of water. So let's fill this cup up with water. And this is the part you want to do a little bit at a time. So I'm going to take just a little bit of water, pour it in, mix it together. And let's add some more water. It's going to kind of feel like Play-Doh. So if you accidentally mix too much salt or too much flour and it's too dry and it's not really sticking together, you just add more water. If it is too wet and you think you've added too much water, you can just add a little bit more flour and salt. So you try to go by the 2-1-1 rule. But you all know what Play-Doh feels like, so you're trying to get the consistency of Play-Doh. You mix it really good. Let's add the last bit of that water. I may add a little bit more water because it's still lots of dry ingredients not mixed together. Do you see how it's forming like little clumps? That's what you want to see. It's going to feel like Play-Doh. All right, so I think I'm done mixing with my spoon. I'm going to take a little bit of flour on my fingers and I'm going to start mixing with my hands because that's really the fun part. So see how it's forming a ball? Right now it's kind of wet and squishy and you can do whatever you want with it, but eventually it's going to dry. So you want to kind of go ahead and form it as best as you can and put your imprint in, and then I'll tell you how to dry it. So let's start off with about half that right now. Let's use a little bit more flour. All right, so I formed it into a ball, and then to get it flat, I just kind of used my hand to make it flat like that, but some people roll out their dough with a rolling pin. If you do that, just put a little bit more flour on your rolling pin. You want to put the flour on top so that when you stick the dinosaur in, it doesn't stick. All right, so you've got a flat little piece of dough, and then on a flat surface, you'll just take your dinosaur and you'll just kind of make a little imprint like that, okay? Sometimes it turns out good and you can really see what the shape is. Sometimes it doesn't, but I bet the paleontologists don't really know what they've discovered when they find it too, so I think it'll be okay. So you'll have a little salt dough circle like that. There's two ways you can get your salt dough to dry. With a grown-up, you can put these on a baking sheet and bake them for 2 to 3 hours at 200 degrees at super low heat, just enough to get it to dry. So if you want to go that route, 2 to 3 hours for 200 degrees, or if you have a sunny day, just take these out and put them on your sidewalk, like on a paper towel, and let the sun dry them. And it might take all day if you're doing it the sun way, whereas in the oven it just takes 2 hours. But either way, we'll get them to dry, and then when you're done, they'll be dry enough to look like that. And then what I like to do is I like to hide these in bins of sand, or you can even hide them in the backyard, in the dirt, around the bushes. Then you can put on your scientist hat and get your paleontology tools out, find these fossils, bring them back inside and see if you can make a real dinosaur. So today at S.T.E.A.M Club, we learned all about dinosaurs. We learned that they're extinct, they don't live anymore. We learned about paleontologists that study old dinosaur bones to help us learn about new species. I hope you learned a little bit something today. I bet if we were talking in real life, you could teach me something about dinosaurs. My favorite dinosaur is a brachiosaurus. He's got that long neck. He only eats the leaves at the top of the trees, and he minds his own business, so he's my favorite. I would love to hear about your favorite dinosaur. So if you have a favorite dinosaur, please comment below. I'm anxious to see what your favorite dinosaur is, or send us a picture if you have one. If you end up making the salt dough fossils or some artwork with some plastic dinosaurs, please send those pictures in too. I would love to see all of your artwork. So until next time, when we learn more fascinating things about other STEAM activities, it was good to talk to you today. Do not forget, we have tons of dinosaur books on our shelves at the library. You cannot come in right now, but if you'll have a grown-up, reserve them online. You can go curbside and pick up all those amazing books. We also have ebooks that are available for free download on your device with your library card and your password. And I know for a fact there's tons of informational dinosaur books just for kids. If you have any problems with your library card, call us at 574-1611. We'll get your password cleared away, and you can download all of those free books and learn more about dinosaurs, and use all of these dinosaur books to fill up your summer reading form too, okay? I had such a good time learning about dinosaurs. I hope you did too. Until next time, keep learning.